Hello YouTubers, Joe Kersey here on February 25th here about 3:30 in the afternoon Eastern Time. You can see Paul's home here today from work. We'll give you an appreciation of the creek still being up. You can see how close it is to the bottom of that little pump house over there at the nursery. I think we got, well, we have about 4 or 5 rocks visible now. It was up to where you could only see about 2 or 3 rocks a little earlier. It's very, you can see it's very foamy down here in the center line. So we've got a bit of turbulent flow. Now, just before I made this video here, I noticed there was a, well, let's call it an entity out there. See that forked tree out there, sort of in the center of the picture? That forked dead thing on the ground. There was an entity out there roaming around, and I said to myself, well, let's just see if we can get this thing here. So I went in and figuring it was going to be a long shot, I didn't get my shotgun. I used the Ruger 1022 with my scope, which, you know, I have used this thing repeatedly at 100 yards and it is dead on, so the scope's dead on. Do you sense an excuse about ready to come here, guys? Well, there'll be a story and maybe a bit of an excuse. So by the time I got out here, he was actually down here by the, right about in this, you know, again with reference to the center of the image here. And that's where I got my first crack at him. I got a couple of 3 cracks at him actually, and I hit him, I know I hit him at least once because he sort of staggered a bit and then accelerated his pace and he sort of went, you know, coming around here. And by the time I could see him again and get him in my sights, you know, he was here, down here at the base of this little ash tree here at the base of the steps. You know, well, you can't, well, you can sort of see the steps. There are these cinder block steps here, you know. And not much contrast here today. So then he kept going and 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 going, and then I guess he's the one that lives in this hole, you know, over here where I showed you the other day. So let's see. Yeah, you can sort of see the hole. But I got a good headshot on him here, you know, just as he was going into the hole, but it didn't seem to make too much difference. But see, the plot thickens here a bit in that it turns out, rather than using hollow points, I was using solid points. I hadn't had occasion to fire this gun in a little bit over a year, actually. And last time I used it, I'd shot a raccoon with hollow points, and that works very well. I mean, you know, that was a one-shot kill to the head. He was up in the tree about 90 feet. That made quite a satisfying splat when it fell out. Fortunately, it didn't fall on me because it's almost straight up. Well, anyway, I know I hit this. I know I hit this guy 3 times with 7 shots. That's a pretty poor record, but he was on the move, guys. I'm shooting with a rifle. If I'd known he was going to get this close, I'd have brought out the shotgun, but I didn't know he was going to get that. I thought maybe he'd stay over, you know, over there. Well, excuses, huh? So anyway, he made it down the hole, so I'll be interested to see if I see any evidence of his activity again. There are certain entities you don't want to have around. This wasn't a raccoon, this was an entity. It wasn't a cat, it wasn't somebody's dog or pet or anything, it was an entity. Well, the basement's still got water in it, and indeed it seems like it's actually got a little bit more in it than it had here as of late last night and early this morning. But not enough to pump out. It hadn't gotten quite deep enough for me to get that, you know, where I can get the thing to prime properly and pump out. So it's, yeah, it may be in there for a while. What are you going to do, you know? Well, I guess nothing in this case, at least for a while. It's 26 right now. You know, when the water gets up this high in the creek, you sort of get a siphon effect from the creek up into the basement a bit, and particularly if it's there, if the creek's up for any length of time, by, you know, meaning length of time, meaning like 5-6 days. Even if you're not getting ongoing precipitation, you tend to get a siphoning into the basement a bit. So, I don't know why this guy couldn't have, you know, poured in a sump system when he built this house, but he didn't. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to spend $20,000-$25,000 to have one put in. So, guess maybe you might have to listen to me gripe about it for a while. Well, there it is. We're getting a flurry every now and again. A little flurry here, a little flurry there. You know, by the grace of God, we're safe and warm, and there it is. I hope this entity is safe and warm. Well, guess we'll find out. You know, a lower body shot will do the job on him. Unfortunately, it'll take a while. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you, as long as we're inciting things, you know, obviously I didn't hit this creature with a brain shot or a spinal cord shot, because if I had, he would have just stopped. But these particular animals have very small brains. Very small brains. It's sort of like people who try to shoot alligators. You know, they've got very small brains. So unless you actually put a bullet in the brain, they're going to keep coming at you. And this, I think, you know, I may have just gone off to the sides, like you know, sort of like right through the. Well, it's like these guys that try to shoot themselves this way, you know, and they end up just blowing off their optic nerves. You know? I mean, they've shot themselves in the head, but they haven't hit anything vital. In my experience doing anesthesia, it was always amazing to me how much hypoxia and hypovolemia and just you know, prolonged forms of shock and physiologic assault some patients would tolerate and still come through it. And the general consensus on the parties of all concerned who were taking care of these unfortunates was that, I don't take this the wrong way, I'm merely describing how it is. This is not a moral judgment. This is not some sort of condemnatory social judgment. But the situation is this. The people who have the dimmest, least capable mentation. In other words, the stupider you are. That's not saying, you know, this isn't the same thing as saying the most ignorant. The stupider you are, the better chance you have of surviving a really, really bad physiologic insult. I mean, you couldn't kill some of these people with a stick. It's just amazing how much damage they would come through and be okay. Well, good. I mean, good. You know, life is life, right? You know, life is to be valued. But it was always, you know, we always remarked on that. I mean, we always remarked on that. I mean, you take any doc aside and, you know, say it's always off the record, they'll tell you that. Okay, on that little note, you know, have I just lost 8 subscribers? I don't know. It's hard to say. Alrighty now. Bye-bye, YouTubers.